What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of the new Slanted Attic Experience. Today, we've got none other than the infamous Hunter. He's been on a couple of my things before. For the people that are part of our loyal fan base, he needs no reintroduction. But for everybody else, those new listeners, those new viewers that are coming and absorbing this podcast information, let's introduce yourself.
Hello, what's up, everybody? My name's Hunter. As Tyler said, I am friends with him. We met in college. I currently live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm a cannabis farmer. So,
Yes.
let's
Hunter and I met how long ago? Probably almost 8 years now, right?
Yeah, I was going to say 7 or 8 years now.
That's crazy.
Been a ride, man. That is wild.
Yeah, I mean, every St. Patty's Day weekend, which is this upcoming Saturday, I think about, us. Were you with us when we went to the Shamrock the Block? Or is that...
I think that our freshman year, when we were in college, because, we went with, Bobby and Kayla and them.
That's right. Bobby rode the mechanical bull.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, dude. We have photos together.
We were all walking around in jorts.
Yes, I do remember that. Man, dude, what a time. Yeah, so that was my first time in Richmond, which is funny enough, and now I live here.
Yeah, now you live there. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, culmination of quite a few things, but yeah, man. I thought we could start off while you were in the bathroom. I was doing some typing, and I thought we could start off about mutual interest, recent interest of ours that's been around for quite a long time. I've got the wiki of Rocket League pulled up on my iPad here. Yeah, so I think I first played the game maybe in high school, maybe early college. I downloaded it because it was free on PS4 at that time. They had paywalled it. I think it was $20 for the longest time. They released it for PlayStation Plus for free. So I downloaded it, played probably 6 games, and absolutely hated the game. So haven't played since then, and I picked it up recently because you and Fish, and I guess Tanner was a part of that too, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you guys picked up interest in the game again. But yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's been super fun. I don't know, right before I started playing, which was about, 6 or 7 months ago, less than a year for sure, but I was just getting burned out of Fortnite, it was getting old. It was when OG finished, so I guess Season 5 came out, but we played a bunch of OG, and then they took it all away from us, and I was kind of burned out, not feeling like playing it, and honestly, this streamer came across my Facebook, and I just started watching him, and he happens to be a top 100 player in the world. And so it was cool. top level gameplay. So I was instantly yo, what is this? And then I was like, oh shit, that's Rocket League. I'd heard of the game,
right.
Didn't know what it was, never really seen it, never played it, but immediately downloaded it when I got home, started playing, was fucking terrible at it, and have since progressed. Still not good at it, but yeah.
Rather quickly. I mean, trying to play it on the keyboard and mouse is miserable. But anyway, I'm going to read the quick description of what's going on, because there actually was a prequel to this game that was made in 2008 for the PS3. The developer, what is it? Psyonix?
Yeah.
Or Sonics?
Psyonix.
They continue to support themselves through contract development work for other studios while looking to develop a sequel. They began formal development of Rocket League around 2013, refining the gameplay from Battle Cars, which was, the game I had mentioned.
Original.
Yeah,
nice.
Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars was the first game.
That's so funny.
After refining the gameplay to address criticism and fan input, they also recognized their lack of marketing. So they offered it free for PS Plus members on release. So basically, I'm going to go back to the beginning here. Rocket League is a vehicular soccer video game developed and published by, I think it's Sonics. It's Psyonix.
Yeah.
The game was first released for PlayStation 4 and Windows in July 2015, with ports for Xbox One and Nintendo Switch being released later on. Rocket League was available on Steam for Windows players and the PS Store for PlayStation 4 players. In June of 2016, 505 Games began distributing a physical retail version for PS4, Xbox One, Warner Bros. Taking over those duties in 2017. Versions for Mac and Linux were released in 2016, but they were dropped in 2020. after Epic Games acquired Sonics in 2019 and made the game free to play in September 2020. So yeah, I mean, it's been out for quite a long time. They've been developing it for a while, and now I feel like it's really popular with the new reintroduction of all the Fortnite game modes and the addition to that game, right? But what I was going to say about that, get me a little sidetracked before we continue talking about Rocket League, is we're pretty OG players of Fortnite, right? And we've been playing the game for fucking 6 years, 7 years, you know what I mean?
Since season 1 or 2 at least. I've been watching you. I think I started in season 4, so
yeah,
got my first battle pass season 6.
Yep. And that was so long ago, and I as much as I love video games, it's basically that and Clash of Clans on my phone. Like I haven't really ventured out and played a lot of other games, so it's kind of fun and refreshing to get some of that, especially when you're on the mic with your buddies, and it's more of a team game too.
No, for sure. It's a lot of collaboration and just fun to play. Like you said, it's car soccer, so you're just jumping around in rocket cars, hitting a soccer ball around a big field. So
yeah,
definitely lots of fun to be had.
Yeah, I was trying to watch the air roll technique. I'm starting to get it. That'll be a game changer. Not the air roll, the half back flip or whatever.
Yeah, the half flip. Learning some advanced mechanics.
That's right.
I hit it about 50% of the time, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's way better than me. I mean, honestly,
you'll get there. It's just muscle memory as always. So.
Of course, man. On the controller, and I don't have the paddles anymore.
Yeah, speaking of that, I was gonna say I do have a controller that I bought for Rocket League specifically because it was tough to play on keyboard and mouse.
Yes, you should have got the what is it? The PlayStation. What's it called? The new controller.
PlayStation Edge.
The DualSense Edge. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm fine to get the default controller for now.
Dude, I'm telling you though, like, I got my first scuff when I was in high school. I think I was sophomore in high school, maybe. My girlfriend at the time bought me a gift card to their website because that's like all I would talk about. Of course,
that's funny.
Playing COD. So I bought one and I used that for probably 3 or 4 years. That broke. And then I got the one that I had now, and also broke. So, I mean, I'm not trying to drop another $200 on a controller. I'd rather put that towards like a Nintendo Switch
or you just go,
upgrade my PC.
I guess, do you use the paddles for Fortnite?
Yes.
Well,
I use
you
the
play
paddles
on
for
keyboard.
every game. Yeah,
right?
I play on keyboard.
I was gonna say, do you use the paddles for Rocket League?
I would, but I mean, my controller that has the paddles has pretty bad stick drift.
Go spend like $75 at Best Buy and just get a PlayStation 5 controller. Easy.
Just get a PS5 controller, but it doesn't have the paddles, bro.
So
the DualSense Edge is $200.
Exactly why you should not do that,
bro. It's so much better.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, if you'll use it for a bunch of other games, do you have any other games on your radar that you've been interested in?
No, I kind of want to get the new COD just to shit on some 13-year-olds. Oh my god, I was listening to that Will Storr podcast with Rogan, and it's all about status, is what he says, is how people react and live their daily lives.
I listened to that one.
And that's the only reason I want to shit on those 13-year-olds, bro, in Call of Duty. That's why I need the game.
Get your status back.
So I can restore my alpha status of COD. Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Used to game that all the time. Black Ops 1 is probably my all-time favorite. The FAMAS, Silence FAMAS.
I gotta go with Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, I didn't have a game system. Well, I had a PS2 at that time, but I didn't have like a 360. Everybody had it, and they were playing Modern Warfare 2. And then I finally was allowed to get a PlayStation 3. Got it for Christmas when Black Ops 1 came out, and I just ripped that.
Yeah, I didn't have Xbox Live for the longest time, so it was literally I'd just fuck around like on maps.
That's
I had
why
it
I got
for
a
little bit,
PlayStation,
like
dude.
a month here and there. But then I would just play with my friends split screen when like they came over after school a couple times a week, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So bringing it over to their house at the sleepover, good times.
Yep, that's why I had a PlayStation 3 though. Free, online play.
Yeah.
That's how I was able to pitch it. I was a salesman. I was like,
there you
Mom
go.
and Dad, if you get me this one, it might be a little more expensive, but you save $60 a year on not having
Yeah.
to pay $5 a month for Xbox Live.
There you go.
Sold. And now I have an Xbox in my closet, and I don't have a PlayStation 3.
There you go.
So
Yeah, I don't
those
have any
tables will
console
turn.
anymore. I sold my Xbox to get a PlayStation so that we could play Fortnite together.
That's
About
right.
2 weeks,
And
2 weeks before they made cross-platform play open, so I didn't even have to do that, which is not a big deal. I think I net spent like $50. I traded some kid my Xbox for his PlayStation, like games, controllers, everything. So it was like a pretty sick deal. But then after like what, a year or so, maybe not even, I sold my PlayStation and bought a computer, which is the one I'm using right now, and that's low key like shitting the bed.
I mean, how long you've had it for a while? Have you ever
Like six
cleaned
or
it?
7 years. Yeah,
Have you
I
ever?
mean, I don't not like explicitly cleaned it. I should take it to like a PC shop and have
Bro,
them take
you
it
just
apart and
nah,
clean
just
it.
look that shit up on Reddit. You're an avid Reddit user. There's guides on how to just take it. You just use a fucking
Yeah.
I don't know a leaf blower.
I don't trust myself with the little electronic shit. I feel like I'm gonna take it apart and bust it and then not have a computer.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I've
see.
been wanting to build one for the longest time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that. I mean, I've spent
Yeah.
countless hours researching that stuff and talking to people and getting advice and still
Yeah, I
haven't pulled
should
the trigger.
I should look more into doing something like that too, but this one was just pre-built by some kid at Tech.
Yep,
So, works for me.
yep. I
But
mean, you could probably salvage some of the pieces out of that. I mean,
I'm sure that's what I meant. I should take it to a PC shop and like see what I can use and take and upgrade and whatever. I definitely want to get a different case because this airflow blows. I took the glass panel off.
nice. Now you get all the dust in there, though. You have more.
Yeah, I
And
have
Murphy hair.
yeah, I have a fan blowing on it to keep it cool.
How are the
But
animals? How's Murphy? How's Bo?
they're doing well, man. They're doing well. I don't know. We're just hanging out, and Bo's like in Colorado.
Yeah,
He's
I'm sure he's loving it.
he's 6, so he's slowing down a tad,
That's
getting a
crazy to
little
think about.
yeah, getting a little old man in him, a little gray hair on the face.
Yeah. We've got to plan that trip out. I'll text you guys in that group chat. I want to see everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That should
Yeah.
work for us. We have a wedding to go to in early October. We'll be back in Virginia area,
Nice.
but
Nice. Yeah, dude. Everybody's getting married.
yeah, getting married, having kids, fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm 26. I'm not thinking about all that yet. I'm still thinking
No.
about what my career path's going to look like.
Yeah,
Everybody's in a different stage of life, though, man. I mean, there are people that, want to start a family as quickly as possible. And that's cool. I mean, to
oh
each their
for
own,
sure.
right? I'm just
Yeah,
trying to do my own thing, and hopefully everybody respects that the same that I would to them, right? Like
yeah,
I don't care. You know,
yeah.
as long as you treat me with respect, you'll get the same.
No, exactly. No comparison, no judgment. Just crazy to me in my stage of life that
Yeah,
other people in my age are having multiple children. I don't know,
yeah,
just a lot of shit. I like you're talking about, you got a dog and a cat. It's like that's a lot to manage and feed every month.
yeah. Of course.
You know.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like another snippet from that podcast I was listening to, it's all based around social media. It's you see other people have success, and usually they're just renting a fucking Lamborghini for a day and posting 36 TikToks that they took with it, chopped up the videos, and are spreading it over 2 months and act like they own a Lamborghini. But we're
Yeah.
all thinking that our status is so low because we see all these people that are, I don't want to say, less intelligent than us, but like less skillful, I would say. Like, you know,
They're gaming the system. You
yes, and
know.
that's exactly what they were talking about. And they know how to game the system, but kudos to them for that, man. That's a talent in
Yeah.
itself.
Exactly. But like you're saying, it's all a highlight reel. So you're seeing the worst shit, or you rather the best shit of everyone's stuff. And then I was saying, are gonna say like the news and all that kind of stuff, media in general tends to like lean negatively. So in that regard, you're seeing all the like negative highlights, the worst shit, the terrible stuff happening around the world, the terrible things people are doing, and you're seeing that and thinking, oh, it's everywhere, it's every day, it's all the time, and it, it is, but it's just way more aware of it all happening everywhere. So everyone's kind of, on edge. I feel like the general public's
Yeah,
vibes
100%.
are off.
Well, I think that like the almost the fear mongering, concept or aspect of it sells more media, more news. Like people, to me, it seems like, I don't want to state something that I don't know for a fact, but right, but to me, it seems like the more on edge people are, the more they want that information for the news to tell them that everything's okay, or like,
Yeah.
nothing major is happening, right? Then they're going to subscribe to that source more often. That's confirming, you know, their belief system, I guess. I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure how I want to phrase that. I mean, I know what I want to say, but need to make it
No,
as
for sure.
broad and
Both
generalistic
are
as
like
possible.
addiction cycles.
Yes.
So, yeah. It just keeps going back and forth. You see it, you crave it, you see it, you crave it. You look for more of it, see more of it exactly.
Yep, the doom scrolling, infinite scroll. It's crazy, man.
But yeah, there's definitely
Absolutely
good stuff
wild.
going on. People are doing good. I feel like in light of all of that tension and stuff happening and people being connected about it, more and more people are, living in communities and moving off grid and being more self sufficient. So that's a positive that's coming out of it because that's like reteaching skills we've lost in an age where,
Sure.
when you want food, you can go through a drive through or stop at a grocery store and have whatever you need almost instantaneously, right? So, like, what happens when that stops? Do you know how to grow food? Do you know how to find
Right.
water,
The
And
only
like,
real issue I have with that is like I am hoping as advanced as a society as we are, we would never need to do that, right? Like I my hope, as a innocent middle schooler, high schooler, I'm like, well, the government is full of a bunch of smart people, people that can, work together, solve problems, yada yada yada, this and that, right? Because that's what you're taught in
supposedly.
general education, right? Like there are all these problems in the world, and like, it's their job to solve that, like food shortage, the economy system, all the pillars of what we need to generally survive as humans. And it seemed bonkers to me that we would ever even talk about running out of a food supply or running out of agricultural land, or because of non-regenerative farming, what's it called, the monocrop agriculture.
Yeah.
They're literally sucking all the nutrients out of the soil, and they're fucking us over. I mean, what do we
Yeah.
do after that? Can we synthesize something that
Well,
can
that's
help feed the plants? It's elements, right? Can we get it from somewhere else, I guess is my
yeah,
question.
that's the problem with that too. Is like, yes, we do get it from somewhere else, but then it runs out somewhere else too, right? We're only on a
Sure,
planet. Everything's
it's a
finite.
finite amount. Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
So regardless whether we can synthesize fertilizer from other chemicals or we, strip topsoil from a different area and put it on that land for crops, it's the same difference. And there are some crops that can like put nitrogen back in the soil and that kind of stuff, but it doesn't negate the quantity of like production that we've required for the population we've achieved. So it's definitely gonna become an issue. Whether or not we'll see it in our lifetimes, it's tough to tell with at least food shortage, but definitely possible for like a collapse of infrastructure leading to that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's much more likely that the infrastructure will collapse. I mean, just like we saw with the supply chain during COVID. I mean, like, come on. It, should we really have been that concerned and that thrown off about the additional need for healthcare items? Like, I just don't see how something like that. We literally have a Department of Health. We have national global organizations of health. Like, don't isn't this something they're preparing for, right? Like,
Supposedly, yeah, and that's what's frustrating when then, just 4 years later after they told you, oh, we can't afford to do this, oh, you know, everyone that lost their jobs for COVID or is out of work or sick or died or whatever, here's $1,200, sorry, you
yeah,
know. But then meanwhile again now they're sending $80 billion a month to Ukraine. The whole war in Afghanistan for whatever, like 2000 to 2010 or
yeah,
something.
whatever it was. I
Whatever
mean,
it was.
we spent massive amounts of money. People
Well,
thought at that
for
time.
Afghanistan, yeah, for at that time, but that was about 75 billion total over the like 10 years, and now we're sending like 75 to 80 billion a month for the last like 6 months to Ukraine, and they're still saying stuff like, we don't have enough money to fund healthcare or education in the United States. They do. It's just a willingness to reallocate the money to the citizens who honestly are paying for all that stuff too, right? That's all your tax dollars.
Yes.
Just think about that too. People complain, oh, you want to move to Europe, it's socialist, you'll pay higher taxes. You pay a higher like tax rate from your paycheck, but then you're like here, you're taxed when you receive your money from your employer. Then you spend that money on a house, you're taxed on the transaction, and then you're taxed on your house every year for just owning it. And same, you take the same money that was taxed when you received it and you pay for gum at the gas station and it's taxed. Like everything here is taxed to a degree where like you're paying the same rate, if not more, and all that money is not going back to public infrastructure and public services. They're not providing anything for the people. So it's
Yep.
definitely something, especially then, like, not to keep rambling on about
No, go for it.
all that stuff, but like with the 2024 election coming up, I mean, it's a repeat of 2020. Are we really doing that with the same 90-year-old criminal and dementia ridden, like, career politician? Like, I don't know. Not that Donald Trump was a career politician, but regardless, like, it's insane that we're in the same spot we were 4 years ago and
Yes.
seemingly have made no progress in any direction. Not that their plan is to ever actually progress in anything other than more and more profit quarter after quarter.
Yeah, 100%. I
But
mean, that's the capitalistic society we kind of live in. But kind of to your point, like what that makes me think about is the enlargement of the middle class, right? They're trying to regress everybody to the mean so the people that are up here can stay up here and the people that are way down here stay down here, right? In poverty or extreme wealth and riches. And they do that
yeah,
by the tax system, right? And all these people, you know, this is a general broad statement, but like all the people that argue about, Republicans cutting taxes versus Democrats increasing taxes to increase spending, yada yada yada. I mean, the super wealthy people that should be paying much more in taxes are not paying any in taxes because they have a really good fucking accountant and they find tax breaks in dozens of scenarios and through their businesses and they allocate all that funding to different business ventures and business trips and things of that nature, so where they're not really even paying any taxes at the end of the year. I mean, I'm sure,
yeah.
okay, that's probably extrapolating a little bit, but they're probably paying little to none comparatively to the rest of the population.
Compared to their net income, but that's
Yes.
exactly the problem. They're reallocating funds to private ventures back into their stuff to and it's fine if you're a business owner and you reallocate money into your business. You need new equipment, new whatever, every couple years, that makes sense, right? But like to the level they're doing it, it's specifically for tax avoidance so that they don't have to
Yes.
pay anything. But then you take, for example, someone like Amazon where they do that, where they report, oh, we recorded $230 billion in profit this year, but it just so happens that there was this whatever consultant in the Bahamas that we were charged $230 million to use for the year. So we actually didn't make any money in the United States. And then this consultant in the Bahamas makes 230 million and they don't pay taxes on it or do whatever because it's not in the United States. But then what my point is with that, for the example, is like Amazon that has a fleet of vehicles and a ton of trucks and everything. They're using our roads, polluting our air, using our gas, doing all that shit, and they're paying taxes on that stuff at a corporate rate, I'm assuming, but like, point being, they're not paying into the system that they're using and abusing because
Right.
we're funding it and still paying for the benefit of their 2 day shipping, right? Which comes at the expense of exploited labor. But, you know, it's all tied together no matter which string you're pulling at, you know, it's all part of the same problem, which is we have no regulation here. All of our, you know, police enforcement bullshit is like criminal, you know, I don't know, it's not actual
Yeah, honestly,
defense of the people.
no, I totally agree, man. Back to the regenerative farming, crops, and planting, I looked up the Mars soil composition and if there's any nitrogen in it that we could farm, you know, potentially. Because, like,
Yeah.
honestly, we're going to have to start expanding to other planets if we're going to use up all the fucking finite resources here. I mean,
Yeah.
what other solution do we have? Will that topple civilizations and push humans to work collaboratively together to push out and venture further out into space? Who knows? Probably. I would hope that it goes that direction, but we could also have
Yeah.
a mass genocide where everybody fires nukes and kills everybody, you know, and
World
then
War
only
Three.
and the only people that are left are the uncontacted tribes, you know, in the
Yeah.
Amazon,
Well,
and it
even-
starts all over again. Somebody leaves and finds somebody else, and then they start a little society and yeah, whatever. But,
Yeah, you know, even then it might not, you know, they might not survive depending on the severity of the damage, the extent of the damage. But that's the problem with what we're at right now. It's an exponential curve, right? So the further we go up, the sharper it gets, but there's only either straight up or crash and burn and the curve starts again, like you said. But
yeah, I
we'll
think there's
see
a
where it
lot
goes.
larger likelihood of our electrical grid collapsing or us not having, you know, enough food to sustain the entire
They don't invest in
population.
fail safes here. They care about pocketing profit, cutting corners, which is bound to cause the failures that they're not planning for or they're avoiding
Agreed.
responsibility for because everyone in elected office is fucking 80 years old, which is not a problem. You know, you want to be old, you're still part of our society, but like, I believe, at least, you know, in terms of United States laws, like if you qualify for social services, if you're retired and receiving like benefits from the government, you are no longer eligible to
serve
run for
political
public office. So you can
Yeah.
still vote for people. You can still vote on issues that affect your
Still have a
pensions
job.
and your policies and shit. Still have a job if you want, obviously. But like if you are above that certain age, like your time has passed to be the spoken authority.
And
in my opinion.
I think that would have a lot of benefit because I think as we increase on that exponential curve, I think us young people, our age people, maybe like people, you know, even up to about 40 years old, we're the people that resonate the most with current issues and what's going on in society. And I think they
Yeah.
might have, even though maybe not the life experience, you know, the tenacity and the audacity to stand up and say something and create you know, spending for issues that we think that's really affecting our children and our children's children and stuff like that, which we're definitely not looking into the future. We have no plan for anything.
No, that's
is
exactly
concerning.
the problem with that age demographic being the decision makers is because it's twofold. There's one, they're not going to be around for the consequences of their decisions, so they can
Yes.
afford to be short term in their policy decision making. And that said too, they're the ones who created the current situation via their policies from 40, 50 years ago, whatever, you know, 30, 40 years ago, whatever it may be, right? So they enacted those things, we're reaping the benefits, and now caused this situation which we're now unable to change because they're still still holding those
Still
positions of
somehow
power.
get voted in to their public office every year.
Well, because voting too, that's another issue. People our age don't go out and vote, and so they, they complain about this stuff, and then the only people that show
Yes.
up on election day, which also is like criminal. It's not like a fucking national holiday where everyone's required to like be shut down and go vote. Like
Yeah, you should,
people
you
aren't
should
given the chance.
provide your employees at least like an hour or two to go vote, man.
Yeah. But
Yes.
anyways, just one of a multitude of issues regarding
Yes,
elections and
and
shit.
that brings up another point, from that Will Storr podcast. People are so about setting themselves into groups, how much potential they have, how much other people like them, the status, right? They go. I
Yeah.
mean, they very much politically align one way or another exclusively. Just because I don't agree with the liberal party's spending habits doesn't mean I can't agree somewhat on a lot of their other issues that they
Yeah.
have. Like, they're more progressive in a lot of social ways, which I totally agree with. You know what I mean? I'm way onto that stuff more than the conservative opinion, but yet I still agree with conservative spending. I like the Second Amendment, free speech.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff they advocate for, I also agree with. Is it crazy to think, to put me out in the middle? Like, I literally can't have civil conversations with people that are so one side or the other. And I feel like that's becoming increasingly more and more the last 6 years, even with
Yeah.
social media. I think is a bad,
That's obviously
huge
a
influence.
problem of the two-party system here too, just a product of not having like the proper amount of options for political leadership because it just shows like I don't know, a huge systematic failure on the United States' part because well, it's obviously by design to withhold power because you're voting left or right, but it's the left hand or the right hand of the same body. You're not
Yes.
actually picking something different. They're just, especially with our election system too, it's 4 years in terms of like national like agendas and wars and other situations like in international crises. That's why China is so successful in like economic standing right now because they play the long game, even though
And they
their
force child
leaders,
slavery and make
well,
people work for
there's
like
other
a
there's
dollar an
other
hour.
reasons for sure.
No,
I'm
of
not
course.
defending their system, but my point is that they look like they are long term thinkers, and
Yeah.
here
Oh,
it's
yes.
so short term because it's 4 years. You get 4 years of left and right, and then it's 4 years of undoing what they did the last 4 years, and then boom, the left gets in again, and it's 4 more years of new this way and that way. But you don't actually progress either direction. You're just
Zigzagging, bro.
zigzagging. Exactly. It's a bunch of BS, and it's all by
Yes.
design to distract us from the real issues of stuff like the wealth gap, like you're saying, the middle class, that bubble where the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor and the middle class stay content. That's dissipating at an extremely rapid rate in that bubble, and it's most of it sinking. I'm
I
sure a
think it's
few.
coming towards the middle. I guess, people on the lower end of the spectrum, I think, are meeting the other people at the lower end of the spectrum. But at least for the middle, I think the middle upper class is getting continuously less wealthy compared to their counterparts 10 years
Well, that
prior.
that's what I mean though is that the entire thing is sinking down. So the middle class is no longer in the middle. It's all going towards the
Yes.
lower. The rich are getting extremely wealthy, and everyone else is getting, by comparison, poorer and poorer. And you get stuff like, COVID and inflation that happened there, record breaking inflation, record breaking profits, but still the federal minimum wage is $7 an hour
Yeah.
when like gallon of gas was almost $5. Like how are you
Yes.
expecting these kids or these people, these adults working at these jobs to get to work when they have to spend half their paycheck on a tank of gas,
Yes.
let
And
alone
hey,
afford
dude.
rent and food? They have
Yes.
children. Like
Yes.
how, it's
Yep.
insane the level of like I don't know the lack of support this country has for its citizens, especially for the people that are so-called you know whatever frontline critical employees, whatever they were called,
Yes,
essential workers.
the essential workers, first responders.
Yeah,
But yeah, dude,
yeah.
what about the tens of thousands of small businesses that were run by a family that lives above their fucking corner shop or their small restaurant or their car wash, whatever it may be? What about those tens of thousands of businesses that went under, never to return? I mean, come on.
Walmart benefits. I mean, but that's another point you brought up earlier was you were talking about they reallocate funds to like their own systems to withhold from the taxes. Part of that withholding from the system is lobbying in our congressional system. So they fund politicians' campaigns to get people to vote certain ways, to get people to hold or write certain
Yep.
policies. So then they get stuff like that where, COVID happens. They write bills affecting small businesses, but not Walmart. And so Walmart gets to like skirt by or pay the fine that they can, take out of a month's income, and it's nothing. And now, mom and pop's out of shop, may potentially out of a literal house, and
Yeah.
now
Well,
what? The
because of
billionaire's
what?
got another 10
Right.
million. Like, cool. Why is that necessary?
Well,
Like
also
the
because
whole
who are they investing in? All these
yeah,
people, all these Congress people, all these people in government. Who are they investing in? We can see their numbers now. We know they're investing in all these companies, and then writing
it's
fucking
insider trading.
yes, and then writing legislation that allows these companies to free market trade or produce stuff at a better level. Oh, dude, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I see these posts every day on Instagram. I mean, that's one of the reasons,
Yeah.
just like my point earlier, that's one of the reasons I come back. It enrages me to see these statistics of all these representatives,
It's
buying stuff. Did you see the one of the dude that sold off all his Boeing stuff the day before the government
you
brought
sent it to me, I
legislation
think.
again? Yeah, I was pissed
A
about
minute
that. I
ago.
was like, come on, dude.
But yeah,
Yeah,
dude, that's what's
it upsets
crazy.
me, man.
It's a
That they can
double-edged
do-
sword with
They
that.
can do it in broad daylight. They're not even trying to hide it. It's the worst
it's
part.
it's shifting. And I agree with you. It's insane that just happens on like right in front of our faces now. But that's the problem, right? They're still acting like everything's not on camera, like there aren't videos going around Instagram. Especially right now too. It's a tough time with like all this AI stuff evolving, and there's fake videos and stuff all over the
Sure,
place now.
sure.
But like
Yeah,
most
understandable.
of that stuff in the last like 5 years was not credible. So that like we know it's still been happening since
Yes.
well before this. Anyways, it's documented in other stuff. But point being is like it's a double-edged sword. So you get your mental health implications where like you're on Instagram all day and you're seeing all this shit, but at the same time everybody is seeing what's happening and is like, yo, what? And they're talking to their friend groups and they're having their podcasts and they're talking to their friends about their other stuff, and it's getting shared and spread around.
Yes.
And eventually, whether or not, again, that's in 10, 20, 40 years, it's gonna topple. It's gonna shift, turn the tides, and change will happen, whether or not it's via, whether or not it's consensual with Congress. So we'll see.
Yeah, the only issue, kind of what your point was, is I think social media can be used for a lot of those things, but I think in the large, or maybe not the large majority, but probably the majority of cases, people are just affirming their own opinions by looking at specific news sources and scrolling through stuff. I mean, that's why you follow those accounts. That's what you want to see, right? That's only the real issue. I wish. Do you follow that Roca news page? Have I ever sent anything to you from them? I've shouted them out last podcast too. I feel like I'm telling everybody about it. But they do their best to provide statements and unbiased news. They kind of just list out a bunch of facts of the events of the day and kind of what's happening. And then they're like, we want you to form your own opinion. I'm like, that's phenomenal. You're like, I need to talk to somebody else one-on-one or debate something like that, as serious as something like that, with somebody else whom I trust, to tell me, their thoughts and what they think, right? Because my opinion may change at any time.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I do follow them or not, but I definitely will. But that's something like one of those other double edged. That's an aspect of social media that's positive, is like you do get to see more of that news, and some of it might be negative, but if you're seeing it from a neutral news source, it allows someone to provide that for you without having to be at Fox News getting a cable deal and being,
Yes, 100%. The rise of independent journalism. Well,
yeah, and hopefully,
which is phenomenal. Sure.
With that independent like media culture comes that distribution of wealth and views and perspectives and everything, right? That's kind of the whole point of having that network, the social network, right? Is so you can be connected to people like us right now, right? I mean, maybe without social media, we would have met at college, but like even before phones or whatever, then what? You live in Virginia now, and I'm in Colorado. How would we communicate and have these discussions?
We'd
and
write
talk
letters,
and play
dude.
games every week, and but it's totally different in the sense of like
Lie to
the
you on my
expression
pigeon.
and level of level of communication.
No, 100%. You're totally
But
right. I mean, we've evolved so much from, you know, wow, Grace and I are watching The Crown right now. They write letters to each other. They deliver them on horseback or on air, in cars and airplanes
yeah,
even. But like, they're
dude
barely
dies or
calling
takes a
people.
wrong turn,
Right.
you're fucked.
Bro, you better have pigeons like Mike Tyson to deliver all your secret mail.
Yeah, right.
No, but seriously though, the mode of communication has changed so much, and that's why, I mean, I talk about Rogan all the time because I really do believe in what he's doing, as a person, just spreading information, whether it's right or wrong or factual or incorrect. That's for you to decide, right? Like that's the beauty of free speech.
Yeah,
Everybody should be able, not part of the hive mind. You should be individualistic. You should make up your own mind. You should form your own opinions, all that kind of stuff. I lost my train of thought, but like the reason why I talk about him all the time is, because I do believe in those things and I want to reciprocate. And, I remembered, what he was talking about is face-to-face communication, right? We never get that
yeah,
anymore. Everybody's looking down into their phones and, they're texting somebody else or they're sending posts on Instagram or they're Snapchatting or, Facebooking or whatever, you name it, right? And we fail to get that one-on-one human interaction or the two-on-two or in a group, more than ever before. And I think that's
yeah,
going to affect, people that are slightly younger than us because we kind of grew up with cell phones rather than them being there before we were in middle school, high school. I remember
yeah,
I got my first flip phone when I was in like 7th grade, so I could call my parents if I missed the bus to football practice or whatever, right? And it was
yeah,
strictly a communication device. I didn't even have like Snake or anything like that,
yeah. No games.
right? Yeah, no games or no interaction other than typing a phone number or a pre-saved contact, hitting the hot dial one or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So how far we've come and how much that will change, I think we're really going to see the impact in the next 10 years. I mean, think
yeah,
about the mental health now. Just wait 10 years unless we start to be proactive and, pitch therapy more often and rehab programs and explore alternative medicines. I think we're kind of screwed, man, to be honest with
yeah.
you.
No, hopefully the future progresses in that way in terms of the like alternative medicines and more independent stuff. But as long as, or not as long as, but like as well as with like technology in the sense of like our phones and our screens, hopefully that's just a brief period of
Right.
like looking down at stuff, because if you think about where stuff's going with like the Neuralink and that kind of thing, that has its own implications, but that'll allow us to be more physically connected like in person and stuff, and you'll see things and be connected in like potentially an emotional level and a chemical reaction type deal, and like
Yes.
obviously that might have different implications once we get there that we don't know yet, but like I think that's fascinating that that is a potential next step in
Yeah.
that
Oh,
like line. So
100%. Except I think we don't know anything about the brain or brain chemistry or dreams
yeah,
or like the effect that placebos have on people, stuff like that. I mean, specifically brain chemistry interaction, and dopamine, deficiency, serotonin deficiency, all this stuff that all of
yeah,
our ancestors were getting by being outside and working outside every day and being involved in nature and getting good oxygen and quality air and crap like that, compared to nowadays we have all these pollutants. We're drinking fucking shitty water everywhere we go. Unless you
yeah,
have like a really expensive filter, you're getting microplastics and all that other crap in there. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Think about what was happening. The most prevalent example is Flint, Michigan, right? The water
mm-hmm.
crisis there, but that's got to be happening in a lot of different places. I can only
Oh for
imagine
sure.
Luis out in not Colorado, California. They experience droughts like regularly, bro. It's a normal thing. Like how
Yeah,
have we not, after, that's been happening for quite some time. I couldn't put a number on it, but how have we not proactively installed a plan for this? Like, I just
for
don't,
like water conservation and stuff. See,
yeah.
here's my theory with some of that is I think they do have a plan for them.
Yeah, sure.
So, I don't think we're considered in all that. And so with whether or not we have our own means to survive is up to us, which is kind of online with that independent regression, progression, depending how you look at it. Like, you know, I think it's a positive thing. But same thing. The industrial, chemical, all that kind of stuff has only been a couple hundred years. So
Right.
as much as the impact that it's had, hopefully it does get reverted and resolved. And if we end up, on other planets in space and technology and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
we'll have kind of outpaced it anyways, and we'll have moved on and
Yeah.
made better decisions. But again, that depends on whether or not that curve keeps going up or just
Yeah, man, and I have honestly real concern with, like, as you were saying, like, the Chinese are playing a long game. They haven't been around for decades or centuries. They've been around for dynasties, dude. Over
thousands of years.
10,000 years, I think. It's like 13,000 years or something ridiculous like that. They
Mm-hmm.
don't give a fuck about what they're putting in the air. They don't give a shit about pollution or air quality. I mean, it's evident. Apparently, I've never been there, but if you go to Beijing, it's just smog everywhere.
Yeah.
They obviously have another plan in place, bro. They're playing the long game. Are they going to move people to the moon or to Mars? Do we even have that capability? I mean, I thought
Yeah.
it was absolutely shocking that we did not have a video of the most recent lunar landing. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but dude, think of today's digital age. How do we not have a live
Yeah.
feed or something like that? They have
Yeah.
internet in the ISS,
yeah.
if it's
definitely
even a thing, right?
Right.
You got to talk to Graham and Caleb. They were telling me this theory about the ice wall out in Antarctica and all that stuff,
yeah.
and the flatness
With
of the
the
Earth,
flat
and like
Earth.
flight paths. Oh yeah, dude. It was kind of super interesting. I mean, it's a theory, right? You got to entertain everything. I mean,
Yeah,
as
yeah. I mean,
ridiculous as
anything's
it may
possible
sound.
with what they're telling us. That's always been my big fish to fry kind of thing, big pill to swallow. Um, it's like, yeah, we talk about all these taxes and corrupt legislature and blah, 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 and that's all saved. We resolve all those issues. Everything's perfect and great. That's just in the U.S. Then we still
That's
gotta
the tip
contend.
of the iceberg,
Yeah,
bro.
exactly. That's just here, and that's that. Then we gotta contend with China and Russia and other places and the rest of the world. And then once that evolves, then we gotta contend with, other colonies. And what if the moon colony fucking secedes and becomes its own
Right.
planet? Yeah, and what do we do? How does that change things?
Right, and to your point, what I'm looking for a specific word. It's all like granular information. It's all like stuff.
Feasible.
No, not feasible. It's all like stuff you can hold in your hand.
Tangible.
It's all tangible
Yeah.
stuff that we're talking about. Taxes and the government and Second Amendment and all that crap. We need to be focusing on the intangibles, bro. How our Earth, continue our farming, right? Our access to clean water, our access to clean air, like shit like that. We're not in tune with nature nearly as much as we used to.
Have you seen the new Dune?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Grace and I
Bro,
went last
so
week.
it's great, but part of that, if you haven't seen it, is there's a like organization, religion kind of deal in the movie that's whole premise is based on planning over like generations, over hundreds of years, thousands of years. So they understand as members of this organization that they aren't going to be around for the culmination of
Yes.
a lot of their doings, but their
Super cool.
doings have come together in a way like you can see it in the movie because it's the culmination. But regardless, the whole point is they plan in thousands of years. So like if we start thinking along timelines like that, we can get to things where like we can start planning about climate like measures and environmental things and plan for future generations in
Yes.
terms of like educational stuff and recorded history. Like you're talking about China's 10,000 years old, whatever it is, right? The Egypt has stuff. It's funny. There's stuff they talk about, but they have like a written document. I forget what it's exactly called, but it's got a recorded history that
5,000
goes
years.
back.
I'm sorry, not 10,000 or
Wait,
13,000.
well, so Egypt has this document. It's got recorded history back to like 40,000 years. It's like a lineage of kings, and it's funny. They go to about 5 or 6,000 years, and it's recorded history, and then they
Right.
just decided that one king is like, and that becomes myth. That's legend. That's not real. And it's like, why? It's all right there. It's like you just don't think they were around 40,000 years ago. You don't think humans were capable of language or this or that because it throws off all their theories. It breaks their religions. It hurts all their positions of power and authority, and that's the only reason they continue to push these things as conspiracies because it's
Yes,
it
dude.
makes it tough to contend with.
Yep. And I mean, again, dude, I'm going to bring up Will Storr a billion times. It's all about status, right? They're academics, right? They want to seem successful. They want to publish a lot of papers. They want to sell a lot of books. They want to
Yeah.
be the big man, right? They want to show everybody that they found something crazy that's rooted in the civilization's history, right? They're not open to new opinions, and
Yeah.
let's get into that a little bit, because I haven't talked about that with anyone for a while, and I've been following that Boneyard Alaska guy
Yeah.
and Graham Hancock and stuff like that. And it's a lot of interesting theories that, like, people don't give any credibility to, which I think is absolutely absurd.
That's my favorite conspiracy, the Younger Dryas impact
Yes.
theory of the early human history and the ice ages, and it shifts the whole timeline of human history and language and evolution and our culture. And it's not just some like fantastical hope that this thing is real. It's like it really truly gives credence and explanation to a lot of happenings and a lot of things of why we are and how we are where we are now, because it provides, and it's not just like, again, theoretical stuff. I mean, it is a theory, but like it provides evidence for
Yes, there's legitimacy to it, 100%.
those things. There's geological evidence, there's recorded history evidence, there's just lots of stuff that points towards this one, like, I think it's the meteor impact in the ice age.
Yeah.
But it just shifts it back to like 12,000 years instead of like what we're in 2024, but it should be 1224. So like,
Well, more than that. I mean,
know.
if it was BC, 12,000 BC, then it would be 14,000.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
14. Yeah, yeah.
And
You're
I
right.
mean, and according to those guys, there's evidence of human civilization dating back further than that, which
Yeah.
I could wholeheartedly agree
also
with.
just to-
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, just to clarify, I understand that 2024 is not like, it's not 2,000 years. I was just stating that as an exaggeration.
Yes. No, I
Anyways,
got
continue.
you.
Yeah,
No, what was
not
I
for
going to say?
everyone else.
No. Like, couple of the archaeological sites that they visited in the first two episodes of Graham Hancock's show on Netflix. How could you not think that was built by somebody? I'm sorry. Like, just looking at it, I don't even have to be an expert, and you can see that there's pathways built or specific, things built into the land as a structure to, like, maybe ramp up a hill or passageways to different
Yeah.
areas of chambers of the temple or whatever. I don't know. It just baffles me that
Yeah.
people won't accept something when it's right there in front of their face.
That's what I don't get about that either. It's like, maybe, again, maybe even like people that are now like 60, 70, like getting up to that age, like, I just don't think they had the same level of education, not in a negative way, but like when we went to elementary school and have, SATs, standard testing.
Right.
We all learned shit. We learned the colonies and the settling of America and Europe and the countries and how how Africa happened, and we were taught shit. And it's not, maybe it was manipulated when we were taught it, but like I feel like a lot of them just didn't even have that baseline level of like education, or just have like a high school degree, which again isn't like a limitation on their capabilities, but they just don't have the same information and don't have the same understanding of like, again, how and why things are how they are. So they just look at it and are like, oh, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And it's like, it's not. It's because this guy did this in 1981 and that happened here in the
Right.
90s and this is that. It's like, you can fucking look at what happened and be like, that's not just how it is.
Yes.
It's because they did this and we can just do this and make it different. But they're like, oh, I guess not. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
100%.
do better.
The internet ruined it all for the people in control. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
not yet, because we haven't rose up as a civilization, or something hasn't happened or whatever. But people our parents' age, they had to walk to the fucking library, pick out Encyclopedia B to learn about Boeing airplanes, right? It's not as
Yeah.
easy as, getting on my iPad right here, searching up Boeing, reading a whole description about the company, when it was founded, who the CEO it currently is, their stock price, current news. I mean, you just get hit with a multitude of information immediately. And that's what I think is
That's-
ruining our dopamine.
Yeah, our
Interaction.
whole chemical balance
Yes.
is off with all of that stuff. That's one of those things you're talking about, like a difference in opinion or open-mindedness and stuff, is like, I do think that in today's day and age, there's more open-mindedness and discussion potential than ever before.
Yes.
Because back then, when you had to go to the library, like physically, and check out a book and read it to find out a specific thing of information and whether or not that was even credible, or,
Right.
your library had the book you were looking for, whatever, right? Like, you might just not know. So, besides that, you just had, like, what your dad said or what your aunt told you or whatever, right? And, like, that's great, but, like,
Or the TV, national
yeah, or what
broadcasts,
the TV
stuff that's
said or
getting
the
vetted
radio
by the
said or
government
something.
before it's hitting your brain. People,
Yeah.
they are at the early time, they're vetting everything.
No,
And
you're
even
right, though.
today,
It was
even
much more
today,
throttled.
yeah, even today, I mean, they still bottleneck what news organizations can say. They can scream and bitch about Joe Biden or Donald Trump. At the end of the day, they can't say anything outrageous. They can't,
Yeah.
they can't claim. Well,
Brings you back to like your independent news account on Instagram. It's exactly stuff like that, where like when Fox News and CNN are, spitting two ends of the same bullshit, and it's the same stuff, and it's all regulated and curated for your, anger. Then you go on Instagram and get an actual, event of, this is what happened, this is what was said, this is
right.
a unedited video of the event. It's like, cool, that's
Well,
way healthier to like,
they're stifling that account. I mean, I can't even send posts to
yeah,
people that don't follow the account. They remove
yeah,
their stuff
no,
everywhere. I mean, dude, they are constantly pushing these news sources. And what happens when after you view your nightly sitting of Fox News, right? You get on Facebook and all you're seeing is about how Trump's going to make the best new president, how everybody
curated
in the
the
liberal
same
party,
way.
yeah. And then what happens? Oh my God, that it's crazy, but that person's end up being a diehard conservative. They're agreeing with all of the policies. No autonomy there. They can't even think outside the box or think for themselves because they're so ingrained into everything they've been consuming. And again, like the Will Store thing, they want to be a part of a group, right? That's what humans are about. We thrive in tribes, right? I mean, we do much better as a part of a large group or a small group, however you work best. You thrive
Yeah,
on companionship. Humans need another person, that's why we get married. That's why we have children. That's, all of that stuff,
yeah.
right? So, I don't
I
know.
think we need to take that in consideration with the direction we choose to go in digitally,
Yes,
with
I
our
agree.
own chemical biological evolution and manipulation, all that kind of stuff, gene splicing and selection and whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But the point is, we need to consider those aspects of our nature so that we can evolve with it and become better and keep our world healthy. So, what's the point of evolving this company or your whatever to be billions at the expense of, your town and planet, and then your kids can't even use the money you spent or enjoy the house you built because everything's dead and dying and they don't have food or water. Like what is the
or
purpose of that,
or or the monetary system collapses. What do you have? $50 in your pocket? Because that's all I have in my fucking wallet right now. Do you have any
That's what
sort
I mean, you know.
of tangible cash on you? I mean,
I got a collection of bottle caps ready to go.
right? Like, what would happen if the monetary system just collapsed right now? Even
Yeah.
even a couple of my friends who say they keep a couple $100 bills in case something happens, they're screwed. They got
Well, cash right
gas.
now too. I mean, that's not even like real in that sense. It's all on plastic cards and bank
Yes.
accounts on that. Like it's digital. There's no
I'm about to
tangible
start
anything.
buying gold. Seriously, I
Well,
mean,
that's why you have stuff either gold or like you grow weed or tobacco and trade. Like, is it going to be a barter system? It'd be like, yo, I have, two fish. Give me a loaf of bread or whatever. Right?
right?
Like
Yeah,
for real. But that's the thing is like, is that a bad thing? There's a certain level of regression that
right.
needs to come when we're talking about evolving with our nature because we're so far from that path. That trajectory is so off right now that like to come back from that, right? You need to have like a little bit of regression and centering of our alignment,
You want to hear an interesting fact?
Yeah, go
There
for
are
it.
more $100 bills currently in circulation than there are singles. More Ben Franklins than George Washingtons.
Sorry, repeat that.
No, I said there's more $100 bills in circulation than there are $1 bills.
That's crazy. Really?
I heard that from a friend. Let's confirm it really quick.
Let's see. That makes sense though, because if you think about those like trunks of cash, that's 100,000 millions of dollars, and it's all in $100 bills. That's easily got outnumbered the equal volume in $1 bills over a couple hundred people's wallets and
It's true.
strip clubs and whatever, right? Like,
Per Wall Street Journal.
yeah, that's
And the
crazy.
IMF, International Monetary Fund, 2019. So not even this year. Holy shit. Wow. This says, curious thing that just happened in U.S. currency. The $100 bill recently overtook the ubiquitous $1 bill in circulation volume for the first time in history. In other words, the most valuable banknote in the United States became the most widely circulated.
Yeah,
Dude, I
that's
mean,
insane.
and that was before COVID, too.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. If I were a conspiracy theorist, I'd be thinking there's something going on there, man. But hey,
Hey, like someone's hoarding money somewhere and like not. That's what gets me with that too. Just on a little end note of that, like, how are we supposed to participate in this economy, in this system, and provide wealth to other people and support your small business and do this stuff when like we can't even afford groceries and gas? Is like, I don't know, what's your plan there? Like, is it really to just imprison all of us to like, be stuck on your store and your goods and your products and your shit and your content? Like, what's your end? Like, I don't. I guess the end game is control, but it just like, I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
it's insane.
No, it is
Seize
wild.
the means of production, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to cause more people to be independent. We see that already, you know,
Yeah,
in skills and in traditional skills like farming and like agricultural in general, like, owning cows, pigs, chickens, self-sustainable stuff. But I don't know. It's like I said earlier, like I love the idea of that. I actually would, I very much want to do that myself. And I think it's a great idea because it's cleaner than the stuff we currently eat. It's better for you. It's all natural production. But, at the same time, I would have liked to see the U.S. government work a little bit harder so the general population doesn't have to think about that kind of thing, right? So.
yeah. That's like the purpose of them existing, right? In my
Yeah.
opinion, what are you what is your purpose as a government if not to provide those services for your citizens at like a baseline? Why is there homelessness? Why is there starvation? How are you allowing this to occur in a supposed first world country when we have the resources available to stop it, prevent it, cure it, and it's just not happening, and they look at us like we're entitled or crazy for wanting it. They're like, oh, it's a dog eat dog world, that's nature. It's like, cool, but don't we are we supposed to have evolved out of nature? We're not necessarily above it, but like that's the point of all this, right? Our civilization and advancement in technology, and we're supposed to be achieving this next level of humanity, this next stage of existence for
Yeah.
everything, quality of life increase, etc. And
Yeah.
people are getting left behind at the expense of what a couple people that have a lot to have a little more. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think we can end it on that note there. Honestly, it was
Yeah, it
it was
sounds good. I
a
think dinner's about to be ready.
there you go. It was an honor having you on today. Very much fun. Very good, chat. I think as time goes on, we'll get a little bit better at it. I think it was a little bit slow of a start, but once we got
Yeah,
talking around I think probably 15 to 23 minute area. I
yeah,
mean, we just talked for the next 40 minutes basically without
got
stopping.
rolling.
I have to piss so bad. So,
All good. Yeah.
yeah, man, it was a pleasure having
You
you,
wanna?
and we'll see you next time. Thanks for
Yes,
tuning
sir.
in,
Peace
everybody.
out.
You can find us on your traditional social medias, maybe even on LinkedIn someday. I don't know if we'll be that professional, but yeah, thanks for tuning
Yeah,
in. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.
yeah. Thanks for listening. Enjoyed it. Have a good one.